What you guys, got another video on hidden Windows 11 installation tricks you should know about. So when you're installing Windows, there's a couple of little tricks you can use to make things easier for you. So if you're doing a standard install and you're not using any sort of XML file for, basically debloating Windows during the installation, you can change the time and currency format to English World. And what this will do is it will basically remove a lot of the bloated applications from the installation. It doesn't remove them all, but it does remove quite a few, which saves you a bit of time. Now, once you've finished installing, you can put this back to English or whatever language you want afterwards. Choose your keyboard layout as normal, and what we'll do is we'll just go through the standard installation process. So from here, what I'll do is we'll just go through and select our install Windows 11, and also we're going to say I don't have a key, which is fine. If you have a key, you can enter it in here if it's a brand new installation. From here, I'm going to be using Windows 11 Pro. If you're using Windows 11 Home, you would have to use the workaround to get past the Microsoft account that they want you to sign up with. That still stands today. You can still use that. But with the Pro Edition, we can use the domain setup, and I'll show you that during the installation. So I'm going to speed this process up so I don't bore you to tears with the whole installation process, and we can get to the meat and potatoes of the actual video. So it's going to go through and install like this and restart a few times, and you're going to get it installing all of the features that Microsoft want you to have on that system. And once you get to this stage, you might see something went wrong. OOBE region is set to the wrong setting, but that's okay. We can skip this for now, and we can now select our United Kingdom keyboard for United Kingdom, if you're in the United Kingdom, that is. And we can also skip the next secondary layout unless you have a secondary layout that you like to use. It's going to go ahead and start checking for updates, let it do its thing, and I'll speed this process up one more time here to get to the next phase of the setup. So from here, you're going to get your name, your device. You can call your device whatever you like. I'm going to skip this for now. And this is where you're going to have to use your bypass method if you're on a home edition. I'm going to be using setup for work and school because I have the Pro edition here, and it's going to allow me to do sign-in options and select domain join instead, which is obviously never going to be stopped by Microsoft. And this means that we can create a local account instead of a Microsoft account. I'm going to go ahead and put my name in right here and click next. And you can put a password in at this stage. I'm going to click next once more. And this will then start to gather information and ask you to choose your settings for your device. Whatever you choose here is up to you. I'm going to turn all of this stuff off. And you may notice that we've got little rocker buttons here like they used to have on the old edition, and that's because we're using the World installation version rather than the standard one. This is where I'd normally disconnect my internet to avoid that massive Windows update that they want to push on you, which takes forever to install and set up. I'll rather do that at the desktop, which is a lot quicker in my opinion. So now we're at the desktop, and what you'll see is less bloat. Very easy to sort out. We can go now back into our settings and change that back from World to whatever your language is. And you can see there's very few left inside here. Some of these we can just take care of ourselves, which I'll show you a little trick you can do in a second. Now, I know there's loads of ways of debloating Windows with scripts and applications like WinHance, Crystallis Text Tool, and loads of other ones that you can use. But what we're going to do here is go into our language and region and change the country and region back to our country of choice, which in this case is United Kingdom. Now you may notice this one right here, which says region format. This can't be changed, and this is for your region where you live. And this determines what you can actually do and uninstall on that system. So if you're in the European Union, you'll be able to uninstall programs like Microsoft Edge and Microsoft Store and also Microsoft Bing. It allows you to uninstall that. But because we're in the United Kingdom, it's not going to allow you to do that. But there is a workaround which you can use without downloading any programs or scripts, which will allow you to uninstall all of this from your PC. Now, some people don't like running scripts or programs on their system to do things, so this will be useful for people that just want something simple. It does take a bit more time, but it is worth noting that you don't have to go off and start downloading an application or a script to do it for you. Now, it does mean that we're going to have to open up the registry editor by typing regedit in the search box. Now, of course, we are now going into the registry, so it goes without saying that use a bit of common sense and create a system restore point. The information provided in this video is for education and entertainment purposes only. Any actions you take based on this video is strictly done at your own risk. Do your own research, basically, and understand what you're getting into before you make changes. Now, first off, what we're going to do here is go to HKey local machine, software, then Microsoft, and then we want to come down to Windows here, open up Windows, and then from there we want to go to current version, open up current version, and this will give us access to control panel right here. So look for control panel. And once we get inside control panel, we'll be able to go to device region, which is the region where we live. Now, unfortunately, this is a locked location inside here, but there is a way around it. And you can see right here, device region, and this is it set here. Now, this is set to United Kingdom. And this tells the machine that you're not in the EU. So you can't uninstall Microsoft Edge or the other applications. You can see it's actually protected. So to uninstall these applications, you'll need to change your geolocation, basically. And there's a long list of them on Microsoft's website, and it tells you the code and name. There's also a guy that actually worked out a way of getting around it, and it was just simply by right-clicking on it and deleting it. Once you delete it like this and go back into the settings panel and go back into time and language, what it does is it basically creates a new file. And that's what it does. So all you need to do here is go inside here, and then we can go back to the registry and basically refresh the registry right here, and you'll see it repopulate. Now, of course, we're still in the United Kingdom. So the trick here is what this guy found out is that if you go into your regional settings and change it to a country that's in the EU, say, for instance, like Ireland or something like that, which is in the EU, we can change this. So from here, country and region, change this to Ireland, because Ireland is in the EU. So we're going to change that to Ireland. Now, we'd still need to change the device setup region. It's in the United Kingdom right now. So what we need to do is delete this right here again. So delete it. And once you delete it, like so, let me go ahead and delete that. Say yes. Now we need to open up the settings panel one more time. And what this will do is force the change to Ireland. And that means you're in the EU when you're in the UK. So we can see right here in language and region, we can now see country and region is Ireland, which we changed it to. And the device setup region is now set to Ireland. Now, you can reverse this and put this back once you finish, but that means it now thinks that you're in the EU, which obviously gives you a lot more powers to uninstall stuff because of the regulations of the EU. So from here, I could just hit refresh here, and you'll now see that we have a code for the EU, which is Ireland. So we've now changed that. Now, we can change that back once we've finished. So what you want to do here is now do all your updates on your system, so you don't get all the other rubbish coming down. And once this is doing all the updates, you can go back in and change all your settings and uninstall what you want to uninstall. Now, of course, you can use applications and scripts to do all of this, but this is for people that don't want to go ahead and do all of that. So we're going to open up our browser and we're going to go ahead and download Chrome. You'll notice you're not getting nagged to use Microsoft Edge. And the reason for that is because you're in the EU and they don't want to force it on you because they're not allowed to. So from here, we can now download Chrome and get this installed on the system. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Now, you can use whatever browser you like. I'm going ahead to use Chrome. I've been using Chrome for many, many years. I'm tied up in their ecosystem with YouTube and stuff like that. So it makes sense for me to use their browser. You choose whatever you want to use for your actual browsing needs. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly stay signed out here for now. And from here, you'll see that it's actually going to set this up for us, but it will give us a few more different options, which is what you don't get in the United Kingdom or United States. You can now set this up totally different compared to what you would if you are in, say, for instance, the US or the UK. So we're going to choose Google here, but you can choose whatever you like if you want to. And we're going to set this as our default. So let's go ahead and click Set as Default. And we're going to set up as default here for our browser because we're going to uninstall Microsoft Edge because we don't want it on the system. So all of this nonsense about you can't uninstall Edge because it's embedded in the computer and it will break things is nonsense, because they're allowing people in the EU to uninstall Microsoft Edge. So if they're offering people in the EU to uninstall apps like the Microsoft Edge, why don't they offer it to everyone? This is the reason why people get so angry with Microsoft, because they just make one rule for one and one for another. And it's now becoming a bit of a problem because people want choice. They don't want to be forced to do things. And this is what Microsoft are doing, forcing people to use things they don't want to use. So I'm just going to quickly check these Windows updates and make sure they're coming down while we're in the EU. And what we'll do is we'll go to the applications section and I'll start removing some of the applications. Now, I'm not going to sit there and show you every single application uninstall. I'll speed this process up, but I'll show you the ones that are important so you can see. So now you can uninstall a lot of the ones you couldn't uninstall before. For instance, Microsoft Bing, and also Microsoft Edge, and a bunch of other stuff which was not uninstallable on a standard system if you're in the US or in the UK. But now you can see we can uninstall these. So why don't they offer this to everyone instead of making it a select few because of a court ruling? It just makes no sense. It would make everyone feel a lot happier to have full control over their system and allow them to turn off and disable features and opt out and uninstall stuff that they want to uninstall. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all of this bloat that's left behind. There's only a little bit left, so I'm going to go ahead and do all of that right here. Now, of course, if you use any of these features like Microsoft Teams or Microsoft OneDrive, then obviously that goes without saying, leave them on the computer. But I'm going to remove it all because I don't use any of this stuff. I'm also going to remove all of the built-in apps like Notepad, Paint, and the snipping tool and things like that, because I'm going to be using the legacy versions of these which don't have Copilot AI embedded in them. And that's the reason why I'm going to be doing that. So if you want to learn how to do that, then keep watching and I'll show you how to install those on your system if you want to continue to use those applications and not feel left out. So we're just going to go through here and uninstall these. Now, of course, you can use alternatives like Notepad++ and other alternatives to Paint as well if you want to. But you can already see the system is looking pretty clean and we haven't had to download any applications or any scripts to do our work for us. And of course, because we're still set to the EU, it means that if you don't want Microsoft Store, you can uninstall it, because that was part of a ruling by the European courts that they have to give an option to uninstall the Microsoft Store. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and just remove the remote desktop connection because I don't want that on the system either. And you'll notice installed apps right here underneath the AI components. Let's just go system components. We can now uninstall Microsoft Store here if you want to. If you use the Microsoft Store, by all means, don't uninstall it. So we're going to go ahead and remove it from the computer. And because we're in the EU, it's going to allow us to do that. Now, of course, some of this other stuff you can remove with applications. I'll show you that at the end of the video. If you want to use that to remove the remnants of these, by all means, I'll show you that. But if you do want the classic stuff, now, a lot of people that use Windows will use programs like Notepad, Paint, and Snipping Tool, and other programs like Calculator. They do still use them, but they just don't want all of the bloat that comes with them. So if you're one of those people that like photo apps, they are also heavily bloated with stuff. If you prefer the old legacy style without all of the AI embedded into it, then you can use these classic apps, and I'll show you how to do that. It's very straightforward and easy to do. And you can even use applications like the photo app as a legacy app as well, which means you don't have the integrated AI into it. Now, the app execution aliases, you can change that if you need to. I've removed all of these apps from the system, so that means I don't need to worry about doing any of this stuff, but it will be in this location right here, and you would just turn it off. But I've uninstalled them from the system, so I don't need them on there. But basically, all I need to do here now is go through the process of installing this, and you can install it for all users or the computer. And I'm just going to uncheck a lot of this stuff and basically run it as a classic paint. There we go. Click finish, and there we go. We're all done. And this is giving you control back of your system. So you can use Windows 11 and take away all of the bloat and all of the telemetry and basically use the classic apps, and it will be no different to Windows 10 once you get that sorted. If you set your Windows updates to manual, you're not going to be forced to keep updating Windows with new features, and you'll be perfectly fine. There's a long list of stuff here which you can use, which are games and also WordPad, calculator, and also the photo app, like I've said. So just go ahead and get them all downloaded and installed on the system if you want to use those sort of apps on your PC. Or you can use alternatives. There's plenty of them like VLC and other applications like this one right here, which is your Media Player Classic. This is the home cinema version. There's a couple of versions here that you can get, MPC HC, and I think there's another version you can use as well. So let's go ahead and quickly change the language and region and change this back quickly back to England, United Kingdom, because we finished with this now. We don't need to be staying in Ireland anymore because we've done everything we want to do here. If you want to leave it in that setting, by all means you can do so, but I'm just going to go ahead and change this back. And all I need to do here is go back into the registry and remove that file, and it will change this back to England. So let me go ahead and open up the registry editor one more time here. And once we do this, I'll delete that file one more time and it will repopulate. We're already in the location. So let me go ahead and delete this. And that's now done. Open up the settings panel one more time. And we should be back to normal right here. There we go. Back to United Kingdom. And that's it. We got rid of all that stuff. I know it's a bit of a faff, but it's what you have to do if you don't want to download any sort of scripts or programs that are going to be doing all of the hard work for you. If you're one of those people that don't like doing that and you want to take full control yourself and do it manually yourself, this is how you can do it. MPC BE is also another good option. It's got a black edition on here if you want to get yourself another sort of player. These are also highly rated by a lot of people. Some people prefer the other one. Some people prefer this version. It's entirely up to you which one you prefer. Just go with whatever one you like best. Or you've got programs like VLC as well. I'm just giving you options. And it should look something like this. These are both of them here. You can choose which one you suit. I like the MPC BE version because it's black and I think it looks quite nice. Now, also when it comes to dealing with the telemetry side, all your privacy settings, you can go in here, manually do it, or you can use Group Policy Editor. I've got files that I've used for that to quickly change all of these settings. It takes seconds to do, and you don't need to download any programs or scripts. But if you do want to speed the process up, you can use programs like Oh No Shut Up 10++. This is perfectly fine. It's reversible. It creates a system restore point. And again, you can use whatever tools you like, but I always recommend this one for people because it's super easy to use and it explains things a lot more easier than some of the other applications do. It also gives you some sort of traffic light where it's green, amber and red, and the red ones are normally what can break the system. So I normally stick with the amber settings here, and all I need to do is go in here and just turn off the microphone. For some reason it disables that, but if you use your microphone or camera, you'll need to toggle those back off, otherwise they won't work. And this will pretty much take care of all of the telemetry on that system. Copilot was already removed because of the EU, and you can see right here it's already gone. I didn't have to uninstall that, and we have all the legacy stuff on here, and that's basically how you can take care of it. You didn't even need to install this. You could do it all through the group policy, but these apps make it a little bit easier if you wanted to go down that route. But you can actually do it without any of applications or scripts out there on the internet. It can be done fully with the group policy editor and using the methods I showed you here today. It does take a bit of time, but once you get this all set up, what I'd advise you to do is take an image of your drive. Again, if you want to use programs like AppBuster, this will uninstall all of that, and you won't have to go through the changing to, the EU. This will just basically allow you to remove it. It's an application. It's been around for a while, and also the other program is owned by them as well. And if you want to go down this route, by all means, it makes things super quick and easy. But again, it's entirely up to you which method you prefer to use. Now, there's a lot of videos on YouTube about the doom and gloom of Windows 11, when Microsoft's done for. It's not the case. It's a lot of clickbait and a lot of trolling going on. Windows 11 is okay once you get it the way you like it. For instance, you've debloated it and removed all the telemetry from the system, disabled a lot of the settings you don't need. Doesn't take that long. You can be up and running in as little as 10 minutes. And once you do that, take a clone or an image of the drive and you'll be fine. You won't have to go through that palaver ever again. So once you get the system set the way you like it, it's pretty functional. As long as you don't keep rolling out updates immediately, as soon as they're released, you're not going to end up with major problems. If you pause your updates or have them set to manual, it will tell you there's an update and you can update when you're ready rather than being forced to update automatically. If you want to change your start menu, by all means, you can do that as well to another like Start 11 or Start All Back or Open Shell or something like that if you want to change the start menu, because this old start menu can be changed to a massive big one that I don't like either. So if you do want to change that, that's what I'd advise you to use. I prefer Start 11, but you can download a trial version of both of those, Start 11 and Start All Back, or you can use OpenShell, which is free. So don't get caught up in all the internet drama about Windows and Microsoft. There's a lot of it floating about right now. And again, people have put Windows 11 into the trash, basically saying it's absolute trash. It does actually work perfectly fine once you've got it the way you like it. I think the reason why people say that is because they've had really bad experiences with it, and it's because their own doing. They basically update Windows as soon as there's an update coming out, and then they end up with issues, and then they blame Microsoft. Microsoft are to blame for releasing updates without testing 100%. But it's your responsibility, it's your computer. You update when you're ready. You don't have to run out updates immediately as soon as they're released. So if you're updating straight away, Microsoft don't have the best track record of releasing updates that are working properly. They always break something. So it's always best to wait for a few weeks until you find out whether there's an issue with that update. I'll normally release videos and tell people whether the update is bad or good, and basically choose what you want to do from there on. Anyway, with that said, I think that's going to be about it. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. Big shout out to my YouTube members. I appreciate the support, and I shall catch you in the very next video. Bye for now.